All right. Good evening. Good to be with you this evening. This is Prophet Rawanawa B. And I just want to sit with you all for a moment. And we're going to talk about some things that are not for the faint of heart. I'm letting you know that right now. This is not for the weak-minded, because you know those people exist. So this is not for the weak-minded. It's not for the weak-minded and the faint of heart. Okay. So the prophet's going to get into this thing. We're going to get into this thing about the Donald Trump snafu. I would call it an attack, an all-out frontal attack. And you could tell by the title that I'm taking a little different perspective than this. The perspective that I'm taking from this is an attack on our black women. He's calling our women bitches. I mean, I didn't mean to say it, but uh, witches would it be. Let me say it that way. So I'm looking at this situation, and I noticed that you don't have any DACA people protesting for us, coming out, doing press conferences. Where are all the feminists at? You know, where are they at? With the vagina hats. Remember all the women that was out there with the vagina hats right after uh, 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 Donald Trump became president? You remember that? Where they at now? Where they at though? I'm just saying. Where are all those people at now? Where they at? You know? He just hauled off and called the black woman with the witch with the B sound. And somehow now he called Rosie O'Donnell a pig. He talks about grabbing women's by the vital areas. And now he's calling the black woman the B word, the B word, bewitches. That's what I would say. Bewitches. On live television, a sitting president. And I don't like the response of black people who are really Israelites and don't know it. I'm not, I'm not, because we trying to make it seem like, I don't like the language that we use, the way our language is couched, like we are part of America. I don't like it. We're not a part of America the way that Caucasian people are a part of America. Let's just face it, y'all. You can't brainwash me into believing that we are Americans like other people. You can't do it. I've been here too long. The history is too ingrained. Oh boy. And see, this is where a lot of the deflection come in. The subtle deflections come in. And I'm talking about from our people, from our people. And we actually make a bed for white supremacists to come in and just, hey son, how you doing? Pretty good. So it's quite alarming, the rhetoric that we have. And I know that we have to be nimble with our diplomacy with these enemies that have rulership and lordship over us in this country. I get that. I get that. But I think we take it too far. I think we really believe We actually provide a bed of propaganda for white supremacy to lay comfortably in. I don't like it. I don't like it. And it seems, it appears, let me see here. So I have a lot of information to cover. I really do. A lot of footage to go over. And I am not a sports enthusiast. I've never played any organized sports in grammar school, high school, or anywhere. And so I'm not really into sports. But one thing I do like, one thing that I do like, however, I enjoy listening to people who are experts in their field. I enjoy that. I don't have to know nothing about the field, but I have a nice detection of people who are really experts in the field that they wield. I really enjoy that. I don't care if it's politics, sports, whatever. If a person is a gymnast and they can talk about it and convincingly enough and with a broad knowledge base, you can captivate me. Geneticists, math, whatever. I'm attracted to that. If you're talking about heating and air conditioning, it doesn't matter. I enjoy a person who really, and it can make it simple enough for a person that is not even in that field to be attracted to the content that they're given. The content that they're giving. And welcome to the room, everybody that's here watching. So without further ado, I really would like to get this thing started. Make sure that I'm on here because I had a little trouble a little early. But there's a guy that's an expert like that, and his name is Shannon Sharpe. And he is a Hall of Famer football player. I don't know all his stats and all that kind of stuff and when he played, but looking at his age, it had to be, it looked like he's about my age. This guy is very articulate. I mean, this guy is very articulate, razor sharp articulation, and a collision of thought with the articulation. Brilliant. His name is Shannon Sharpe, and he's on a TV show called Undisputed. Okay. The guy has swag. This show really is his show because Skip Bayless is riding it. Right. Skip, his name is bigger on the marquee, but the guy who's really carrying the show is the Israelite. I mean, come on. We're the salt of the earth. I mean, come on. And this guy, he just kills it. And Skip Bayless is getting paid off the back. I know it's his show, but just like every other situation and arrangement that we've ever had in this captivity, Skip Bayless is getting paid off the back of Shannon Sharpe. He's riding the coattail of his intelligence. He's riding the coattail of his swag, the coattail of his prowess with the English language, his knowledge of politics and sports, and his Hall of Fame career. This guy needs his own show. He really carries the show. The only thing that I don't like about the fact of Shannon Sharp is the fact that he has a girlfriend. That's one problem I have, and the other part is that she's a Caucasian. So you see, there's always a chink in somebody's armor. Yeah, I know nobody's perfect. I get it. I get it. But why do we always have to be imperfect in the area of their white women? Why? I mean, he's a powerful speaker, but he could not get past that white woman. That white woman, boy, is powerful when it comes to a successful, rich, famous black man who's really an Israelite. That's our kryptonite. Amy, Becky, that's our kryptonite. And not only that, he's not even married to her. It's his girlfriend. And this is a man old enough to be married and producing a boatload of Israelite children. That's just not us. So, but regardless, you know, you got to take what you can take. I get it. I get it. So let's play. Let's play this and get this going.
An SOB is what brought the NFL, the owners and its players together. And while some might be...
And let me tell you this, the implication of him calling our Israelite women bewitches on live television, bewitches. That's what I said. The implication of him calling our Israelite women who are labeled by a pseudonym of black bewitches, it implies the narrative and the construct that the very people that are Donald Trump have fabricated, where we have upwards to 70% of our black families are not married. There's no married couple in 70% unwed parents among our nationality. If this is not a racial slur, I don't know what is. And the level of insensitivity towards an acknowledgement of that, I think, is even more divisive than the actual insult itself. Not to minimize it, not to minimize the insult. It's just bad. This is really bad, y'all. When in the history of the United States have a sitting president got on television and called the black woman bewitches? When has that ever happened? When has that ever happened? And the implications of that, it smacks right in the face of the Israelite male. Because you can't call are women witches, be witches, without implicating the so-called black man? You can't do it. So his remarks was an indictment, an implicit indictment of the black man, and a direct assault on the black woman, the Israelite woman, who's really an Israelite. That's really it was about. And it's really a shame. And with all the talking heads out there, I know that nobody's dealing with the fact that he's called our mothers, our sisters, our aunts, our grandmothers, our great grandmothers bewitches on that. Nobody even dealing with that. And where are the DACA people now? Where are the DACA protesters now? Where are all of those people? Where are all of the people that were marching for DACA and the anchor babies from Mexico, Puerto Rico, Guatemala, Dominican Republic? Where are they at now? Where are they at now? Why are they so silent? And where are all the feminists who had held mass demonstrations on the day of the inauguration of Donald J. Trump? Where are they? Where are they? Who were walking around with vagina hats on? You remember that? I'm not making up something. Google it if you don't believe me. Where are they at? Where are they at, though? And they tried to have a multicultural, diverse group of people for the protest, the feminist protest. But where they at now? Nobody's rioting in the street for the black woman. Nobody cares about the black woman. But guess what? When they had the feminist protest on the day of the inauguration of President Donald Trump of the United States of America, you had a nice amount of so-called black feminists there. Where's the outrage from Black Lives Matter over this situation? I'm just saying, y'all, it's just, we're making this thing so much about, you're addressing the fact that he mentioned son of bewitches, referring to the Israelite woman who are Hebrew Israelites, and most of them don't even know it. But they mention it, but they don't really deal with how incendiary the comments were, and having a laser focus on how it's an attack on the so-called black woman who's really an Israelite, but they don't know it. It's really amazing. But let's get on with this.
By the conscience of these NFL owners, it wasn't their conscience that moved them.
Exactly.
It was the cash.
Exactly.
Because see, Skip, what we know about people with money, they don't like being told what to do. They don't like being bullied. You see, President Trump has bullied a lot of people. The very first thing that he uttered as he strolled down that escalator 2.5 years ago is that Mexico is sending us their worst. Murderers, rapists, and drug dealers. That didn't shock the conscience of the NFL's owner. Him offending Gold Star families. Nope. Him calling Rosie.
Hold on a second. We're going to get this. You're going to get this word.
O'Donnell a pig. Him on the Access Hollywood talking about grabbing hoo-ha. That did not shock the very conscience of 7 NFL owners. Skip, allow me a second to name those guys. One, Daniel Snyder.
The reason why it didn't shock NFL owners, Shannon Sharp, is because That's what the whole culture of the NFL is built upon. You should know this. This is what the whole culture of America was built on. How many hoo-has of Native American Indians, indigenous peoples in America was grabbed when Christopher Columbus and Amerigo Vespucci got over here? The Pilgrims and the Puritans. How many women did they rape? That's what this country is built on: rape and pillaging. Terrorism. This is the most terroristic nation in the history of the world.
Guys on your monitor: Jerry Jones, Mr. Bob Kraft, McNair, Houston Texans, Woody Johnson, Shad Khan. They gave $1 million for the inauguration of President Trump.
Yeah, white supremacy.
And now they seem to be shocked. Every author that's written a book about President Trump, and they started writing books about him in the 1980s, they say he is exactly today as he was then.
Exactly.
So that is all I want to say about him.
And that's exactly how America is. America is no different. It's worse. That's all. It's more covert. It's more subtle. It's more sinister. But we think because we get direct bank drafts after we get paid, things are better. No, it's not. That's actually a sign that things are worse. Your money has to go to somebody else before it comes to you. It has to go to their business before it comes to you. Automatic bank drafts? Really?
Now what has happened, because what he said in Alabama, play into it, you know what happens in Alabama. There's something that's going on in America right now that's more valuable than Google and Apple stock. It's more valuable than gold and Bitcoin. It's very valuable. And President Trump, he understands that. But Skip, now I'm unimpressed because this wasn't a protest. This was unity. So what are we showing solidarity against, Skip? We're showing solidarity because
I think he's saying this was unity tongue in cheek. This really wasn't unity. This is not unity. This is not what unity looks like. When somebody says something so foolish that they force your hand to do something, that's not unity, y'all. That's called, man, you made me day. You outed me. That's what that's called.
Trump, he challenged the very men, wealthy men, billionaires, and he told them what you should do if someone protests, you should fire them. They don't like being told what to do, Skip. And then, Skip, he called the players that protested the anthem, he called them SOBs. Think about that now. He called them SOBs. That's what got the owners. That's what got the players to unite. Is that the worst of it?
You know what? Calling a sitting president, calling a black woman a bewitch, it's just like calling her a whore. I don't see no difference. You're going to call her a female dog? She don't even play on the field. It's almost like that video that's going viral on Facebook and YouTube where the little tiny baby is brand new born and they give the baby the finger and call it Satan. Baby Satan. Brand new baby. And guess who's doing it? It's Caucasian people. But you can't really bring this up to Israelites who think they're black people. You can't do it because they're going to start caping for black people. They're going to start wringing their hands. Oh, well, you know, everybody make mistakes. Those people are the problem. Those people are the problem. And although I do have a fancy for Shannon Sharp, I'm not comfortable with him. Anybody that sleeps with an enemy's daughter or wife, nah, I'm good. You can just stay over there. I like many of his points. I like many of his the threads of his thoughts. But yeah, I have to be cautious, because see, if something goes down, you really don't know whose side he's gonna be on. Because see, all of this is just talk. Who you sleeping with? That's what it really comes down to. You see the type of oppression that we are under. You see the type. Hey, I'm sure. How you doing? Just stopped by to say hello. Hey, what's going on? Good to see you. You see? So I see Shannon Sharp. I have some admiration for him. I know y'all think I'm double talking. I'm not. Precise with what I'm saying. You just can't jive all of this stuff because it's complex to the mind. Glad you're here. Glad you're here. So if I see somebody sleeping with my enemy, well, I'm supposed to be on alert. I don't care what kind of rhetoric they have. I don't care how convincing the rhetoric is. And this is where our people don't know how to really draw a line. They don't know where to draw a line with this kind of stuff. But I don't really look at Shannon as really being on our side because he is in love with the enemy's daughter or wife. I don't know how. I'm sure he got a young Heidi or young what you call Becky. I'm sure he does. I'm sure he ain't getting no older woman with all the money he got. But anyway.
I'm saying? Absolutely not. Never call Vladimir Putin an SOB. Never call Erdogan a Turk an SOB. Even those men that walk down the streets in Charlottesville, Virginia, carrying the tiki lights,
right,
hollering what they were hollering, inciting violence. He never said SOB. As a matter of fact, Skip, he said there were some good people in that group.
Yep, he said it.
What has transpired, Skip, again? Because what were they uniting against? It's almost like they were uniting against Colin Kaepernick's right. That's not what Colin Kaepernick is talking about. It's almost like they're uniting against you trying to attack us. Because see what happened, Skip, when he was from the bully pulpit, when he was looking down upon everybody else, the owners never had a problem with that. It wasn't until he came for the NFL that their conscience was shocked. How dare you?
Right. See, when Donald Trump started attacking their cash cow, that's when they came out with the players in solidarity, locking arms. You hear that? Locking arms. Oh no, they locked arms with the slave. The slave is my brother. His law is love and the gospel of peace. All the little white Jesus songs. Now all the white owners want to come out and sing Kumbaya with the slaves in the field. Why? Because the cash crop is being attacked. Now, but I want to tell you, our people, I want to tell you what our people are, because we like silly doves. Our people think, yeah, white people coming to our rescue. This is not even about you. This is not even about you. You just happen to be on the field. This ain't about you. This is about my money, my paper. Slaves. This is like you can liken this to the Civil War. When the North saw that the South was making all that money and none of it was coming to them, and a person in the South with 5 slaves had 10 times the wealth of a person in the North without slaves, that's what caused the Civil War. That's what caused the Civil War. And when Caucasian people couldn't do the jobs and get paid the jobs that slaves was doing for free. That's what caused the Civil War. It ain't had, come on. It wasn't about freeing no slaves. Nobody wants to free no niggas. Stop, say y'all, stop wishful thinking. Stop thinking that when two white brothers start fighting each other, somehow you're going to get free. No, you're not. No, stop. Just stop that. You're not going to get free. Soon as you try to get free, that's when they're going to stop fighting each other and start hunting you down like dogs. Remember, they brothers. Can fight each other and cuss each other out. But boy, if you start messing with their family jewels, which is you, stocks and bonds is black people, guess what? They will put a pause button on fighting each other just to come catch you. So because now I'm seeing some of the same symbolism. I'm hearing some of the same rhetoric that was being pushed when Barack Obama was running for president the first time and the second time. I'm hearing the same stuff, and we get caught up in all the symbolism and all this stuff. I say we kind of stupid. We kind of stupid. We kind of stupid to think that we're going to get free because two white brothers are fighting each other. No, no. The Most High didn't put us here to get free because there's a war between two white brothers. He put us here to get free. He put us here under bondage so we would turn back to him. Have we done that yet? Well, it don't matter what happens. It don't matter what war breaks out. It don't matter if it's a civil war or a world war. The Most High is not going to let us free until we turn back to him. So don't think that it's going to be so much confusion between the white people fighting each other and protesting in the street that somehow we going to get free. That's not going to happen. That is not about to happen. Hey, Clarence Ray, what's going on? Shalom, shalom, shalom. Good to see you, brother. So don't think, y'all, and this is sad that our people think like this. We think that if white people start running each other over with cars, shooting each other, bombing each other, blowing up the World Trade Centers and all this kind of stuff, somehow we're going to get free. Have we got free yet? We've been through 2 world wars, Vietnam. We've been through Reconstruction, Jim Crow. We've been through everything, and y'all, we still ain't free. So don't think that in the midst of the confusion of white people fighting white people, or white people fighting Vietnamese and Chinese and all Arabs, that somehow we gonna get free. Don't get free. That's why the Bible says no man shall deliver you. No man is going to deliver you. I'll tell you something. Because we have not turned back to our Elohim who looks like us, I don't care if a nuclear explosion happens in every major city of the United States. Guess what? We still going to be in slavery. It's going to be enough of our enemies left alive and even get free, even if we outnumber them 1,000 to 1. Even if for some stroke of chance and opportunity, we outnumber them 1,000 to 1. We still gonna be slaves of these people. He said, no man shall deliver you. So thermonuclear war is not a solution to our salvation and captivity. It's not. It's not a solution to our captivity, I should say. We think if a black man run for president, we gonna get free. Please. You see what happened? We had him for 2 terms. Why did the Most High allow a so-called black president for 2 terms? To show us how free we are not going to be. That's why. The Most High is showing us how free we're not going to be. Why has the Most High made us the most educated group of people on the face of the earth immediately after the Civil War and the passing of the 13th and 14th Amendment? From 1866, I think, all the way to 1920 or 1930. The most educated group of people and literate group of people on the face of the earth, bar none, was guess who? Slaves and the descendants of those slaves. So education didn't free us. Education didn't free us. Literacy programs didn't free us. They did not free us. We still slaves. Higher education has not freed us. Integration hasn't freed us. Civil rights haven't freed us. Christianity is not even designed to free you. Christianity, you know, Clarence Ray, you look really familiar. I think you have a YouTube channel that I used to watch. I think I remember you. I think you worked at a restaurant. I think you worked at a restaurant. Your thumbnail looks familiar. Of course, I can't see it real good because it's so small, but your face really looks familiar. But anyway, so let's get back into this. We're going to have to start looking at the news and the world around us from the perspective of Israelites. From the vantage point, captivity. I don't know. Yeah, there is a vantage point even in that.
Tell us what we should do. You think you can tell us that we should fire somebody? Because remember, they said First Amendment. Here we are, what, 14 months after.
And you know what I heard today, y'all? I heard that Donald Trump doubled down on other things that he's saying that they should do. He didn't back up. He doubled down today, they said, on what the owners should do. Whoa. Why can't he double down? Because this is America. This is our captivity. He's basically saying double down on them niggas. He said that today, basically. Hey, Just Teach, what's going on? Shalom.
Kaepernick originally kneeled. And when they asked him, he said it's not about the flag, it's not about the veterans, it's not about the police. It's about the brutality that unarmed men and women of color are suffering. It's about the injustices. It's about the inequities that's going on in America. That's what he said. And still, we talk about the freedom of speech and all these.
Let me say this too. I don't like it, y'all. I really, really don't appreciate it when something is really about so-called black people and then we start adding black and brown. I don't like that. They don't add us. They don't add us. You don't see the DACA people adding us that are Hispanic and Mexican. They don't add us, but we do. And when we do that, we water down our cause. I don't like that. Black and brown. No, let's just stay strictly black if we're going to do that. Don't call ourselves, let's make it strictly about Israelites.
Release these statements and how divisive. The Seattle Seahawks touched on what the real issue was. And the problem that I have, Skip, is that these guys, some of them, and I'm very disappointed, and a few I like to say, I'm very disappointed in one of my very best friends, Ray Lewis. Ray Lewis sat in that chair right there.
Oh, Ray Lewis, Ray Lewis, you're the worst, man. You're the worst. Friend is on here. Ray Lewis, he on 2 knees. He said he would never bow. And you know what? That reminds me of something. All this bowing and stuff. It really. Hold on a second. Let me see. Batia, come here, baby. But let's hear him out.
He could never not stand for the national anthem.
That's what he said.
Because so many people died, and he had family members to fight for this country. The opportunity and the flag means so much to him.
Why are you looking all?
And he kneeled, not on one knee, on both knees. So what were you kneeling for?
On my bike.
You kneeled. You showed solidarity because of what President Trump said. And when Colin Kaepernick is trying to draw attention to the injustices going on, you deem that inappropriate? You remember what you said about a month ago?
Yeah. See, Ray Lewis, his white daddy, Cornel West, was just on CNN talking about white folks standing for the love of black people. Any movement. Yeah, you know what? I would have to agree with that. I'm not a big Cornel West fan. And I'm going to tell you one reason why, because he got a white wife. So, and the same thing with Shannon Sharp. You know, the more fiery the rhetoric, and I see that you sleeping with somebody who don't even look like your beautiful women. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? Just Teach. You feel me? So, you know, people say you can't help who you love. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. If you can help who you give your hate to, why you can't help who you give your love to? You didn't know that? I thought that was common. Now, you didn't know that? You didn't. Google. That's what Google is for. Go ahead, Google it. Google it. Receipts. Let's get some receipts here. Yeah. No. Yeah. He's got a lily white wife. Yeah, Cornel West. To be quite frank with you, when I first found out, but yeah, he's got a white wife. All that fiery rhetoric and all that Afro, it's like, okay, all right. I'm telling you, I just can't get with that. You know, you're a professor of basically this kind of stuff. You go all the way back to the 60s, marching, and guess who you marry? Out of all the women of color in the world, who you marry? A white woman. So that does something for me. That's a sticking point. You see, I have to be a little cautious. And the same thing with Shannon Sharp. I like Shannon Sharp way better than I like Cornel West. I think Cornel West, for me, is a little over the top. To me, he's a little over the top and somewhat disingenuous. Shannon Sharp, man, you just dropped a bomb. So I'm going to tell you why I like Shannon Sharp, so you don't think I'm double-minded. Because you may say, well, wait a minute. This guy has a white wife. This guy has a white girlfriend, but you like this guy with the white girlfriend better than you like the white wife. And I want to tell you why. Shannon Sharp as being as disingenuous. How many pictures have you seen of Cornel West with his wife? How many people? This is an old school guy. How many pictures have you seen? Apparently none, because you didn't even know. Apparently none. Okay. Now Shannon Sharp, I like him better because I think he's a more critical and cogent thinker, and I don't think that he is a soundbite thinker. When I listen to him, I don't get that from him. Packaged civil rights has been rhetoric from him. I don't get that from him. He comes off to be very genuine. However, I still have to pause a little bit because he does have a white girlfriend. And this is a man that's our age. This is a man our age. And all the beautiful women of color, at least in the world, and he picks a white woman? No, I can't take that. I can't take that. So I have to even watch Shannon Sharp. I gotta watch him. Gotta watch that. I gotta watch it. Because if you cannot escape the class of a white woman, and you're supposed to be a very critical and cogent thinker, I have to compromise the level of cogency in your thinking skills based on your bed choices. I have to, because I don't like surprises. I don't like surprises. So I like to know where you stand, so I at least entertain that you could do a sneak attack, so I'm not totally caught off guard. That's just how I think. However, another reason why I like Shannon Sharp is because Shannon Sharp is not over the top with his rhetoric and all this kind of stuff. And he's not as fiery as his rhetoric. He's not as fiery with his rhetoric and over the top as a Cornel West. And so it's more plausible. It's more palatable. It's more acceptable, even though he has a white girlfriend. You see?
Colin Kaepernick, not only were you kneeling, you were stretching. You were even worse than kneeling.
Exactly.
Hypocrisy.
Exactly.
And that's what I find so ironic about this, Skip. The very people that said they could never ever kneel.
Yep.
Some people, I like Tom Brady. Tom Brady said, I'm not going to touch it.
Right.
Do that.
I appreciate that.
But these all of a sudden, I just want to know, what are you unifying against? Are you showing unity? Are you showing solidarity against racism or the injustices that's in this country?
No.
Or are you showing solidarity against President Trump and what he said? His attack on the very NFL, the shield. Because what we know about above all else,
that's what
those 32 men and the commissioner will protect that NFL shield at all costs.
Thank
against
you.
all foreign and domestic.
Come on now. There you go. That's what this faux fake unity with players and owners is all about. Protecting the plantation. That's what it's about. Because our people, we kind of silly. Oh, the owners came out. Massa came out. He gonna free us. No, no, no. Master is locking arms with us. No, no, no. I'm locking arms with you so you don't escape. Oh, I'm locking arms with you so you don't escape this plantation. Why I'm locking arms with you, but we so silly and wicked, because only wickedness would have you think that the reason why the slave master is coming down and locking arms with you, you have to be wicked to think that. You have to be wicked to think that the slave master came on the field and put chains on you. He put chains on you. And what chains did he put on you? An arm lock. Woo! Hallelujah. Arm lock on you so you don't escape the plantation. But guess what you think? You think he arm locking you because he loves you. Boy, you know how the Most High is going to kill those owners coming out of the boxes, those luxury boxes up there where they watch the game to lock arms with the players. They were engaging basically in a civil war with their brother, whose name is Donald J. Trump. It is, y'all. Stop. And y'all, look at me. I'm locking arms with Massa. He loves me. Boy, you have to have a demonic spirit to think that the slave master is all of a sudden loving you when he's having a civil war with his brother. They will put a pause button on that civil war and come catch you if you try to run off that field, run off that plantation. You see, we better stop this stupid stuff. Sad to say, I don't like really. I like some of the talking points of Shannon Sharp, but he just don't get it. And the reason why he can't get it, because he don't know we're Israelites. He think we just black people who are Americans. No, we're not, Shannon. We're not Americans. We're not. Our enemies are Americans. We are captives of the Americans. But you can't prove that to him. Because he got a few $1 million. He's famous. He's in the Hall of Fame. So it's no way that you're going to be able to convince him of the Stockholm syndrome that he's bathing in.
Had to find that out the hard way. They've allowed him to attack so many groups in America. It wasn't until he came for one of 32 and the 1,600 men, and only a handful of them, Skip, have ever nailed in protest. You know? And he called him an SOB, and that shocked the conscience. Skip, not grabbing the access Hollywood joy. That didn't shock anybody. He offended a Gold Star, a family that lost a son fighting for this.
Grabbing a woman by her private parts, that didn't shock any of the NFL owners. It was like, you know why? Because that's the culture of those type of men. They come from a long line of rapists, white supremacists, terrorists. So Donald Trump grabbing a woman by the crotch, that's not gonna, they ain't gonna get no rise out of that. Now attacking their crop, cash crop. Now that, wait a minute, lock arms. Make sure these niggas don't get off the field. We gonna have to start thinking. We don't think.
He called John McCain a loser because he was captured. John McCain was a POW in Vietnam. He refused to come home until everybody came home. NFL didn't say a word. Nobody locked arms. So what are we uniting against?
The plantation
now?
Destroying the plantation. That's what we are uniting against.
What he said. If that what shocked your conscience, if that what made you choose to unite, so be it. But there's a bigger issue, and the issue is the racism and the injustices in America, in which Colin Kaepernick took a knee for in the beginning, and only Martellus and Michael.
Let me tell you this. Let me tell you this. The bigger issue is not even that. The bigger issue is that Israel won't repent. No matter what happened to us, no matter how many injustices we go through, we won't turn back to the Most High. We won't turn back to the Most High. That's the biggest injustice that spurs all the other injustices that we face. We are actually fueling, adding accelerants to the injustices that are pointed our way. But Shannon's not going to get that because he has a different worldview. He don't even know he's an Israelite. And so it's like, oh boy. But the reason why that this is so important, you all, is because a lot of our Israelite brothers and sisters, guess what? They get caught up in the ideology and worldview of Shannon Sharpe. You know why? Because he's a black man, he's famous, and he's rich. But this is really not our problem. This is really not our real problem like he thinks. And I think in a secretive way, spiritual way, we're being propagandized by the rhetoric of even Shannon Sharpe. Just because he's black. You got Israelites that believe exactly like Shannon Sharpe do. And they know about Deuteronomy 28. They know that they're Israelites. But it's something into a Shannon Sharpe, they forget all about that stuff. Yeah, they beating us up. Yeah, they call our women the bewitches. They call our mothers bewitches. Now, the only reason why I bring out the bewitches aspect is because to show up the DACA movement people, you don't hear them saying nothing about this, and the feminist movement, who on the day of Donald J. Trump's inauguration, they all were standing out there wearing vagina hats. I'm not making that up. Google it. Yeah, they were wearing vagina hats, knitted vagina hats on their heads. And they propped up a few little black women to speak to, be the face of the black feminist movement. There really is no black feminist movement because the feminists don't really like black women. The feminist movement is nothing but an arm of white supremacy. That's all it is. But you can't convince a so-called black feminist woman of that, because she don't even know she's an Israelite. And she think the white lady is my friend.
Jenkins and a handful still understand what.
Let me tell you something. The only friend that the hey baby, how you doing? Is somebody out there with you? No. Nobody came looking for you. Hey, that was great. So The only, yeah, what I was going to say before my daughter walked in the door, uh, the only friend that the Israelite woman got is the black man. I don't, good, bad, ugly. That's all you got, baby. That's all you got. Don't think that white woman gonna come to your rescue. Don't think that white man gonna come to your rescue riding on a white steed to save you from us. We all you got, lady. We are all you got, and you all we got. As well, stop.
Issues are.
Okay, so just to be clear, you were unimpressed with the reaction to President Trump's statements of
Yes.
Saturday night that we saw on the field pregame
Yes.
anthem.
That was
Unimpressed.
that was like on a scale of 1 to 10 of things that he said, that's like a 2.
That's hot. That's hot.
First to your
okay.
friend, and I'm going to go so far as to say your brother, Ray Lewis.
Absolutely.
If there's anybody close enough to be a brother without being a biological brother in this world, it's Shannon Sharp to Ray Lewis. Is that fair to say?
That's very fair. I only got a handful of those. That's not my biological brother that I treat like my brother, and there's nothing I wouldn't do for them.
That's why there's so much credibility in what you have said in criticizing Ray Lewis, who obviously is a regular here on Undisputed.
Correct.
I asked you this question, and it's only a question, not a statement. That even Ray Lewis, like so many Trump supporters, saw the light finally?
No.
Said, man,
no,
I can't do this. I can't.
See, when I hear a Caucasian person say what Skip Bayless just said, to me, that's propaganda and deflection. Is it possible that they finally see the light? No, coons don't see no light. Stop it. See, that right there is orchestrated, premeditated. I don't like when people pull this kind of stuff. Could it be that they see the light now? No, these are demons. Don't give them a break. And Shannon Sharp sitting here like, nope, and he's and Ray Lewis is his best friend. He said, nope, they don't see the light. Woo! You get points for me on that, Shannon Sharp.
Or anything about our president anymore. I've got to join in.
Nope.
With the reaction too. No.
I think what it was is that Steve Bisciotti, the owner, said this is what we're going to do as a team. We're going to show unity, and Ray joined in.
Oh, yeah. See, Slave Master said, the owner of this team, Ray Brashad, said, hey, this is what we're going to do. And you notice this? Oh, and that's why I wanted my Bible. Oh, boy, you're going to like this one. Oh, boy. Let's go to Exodus chapter 20, verse 3. You're going to like this one. It always bothered me, this kneeling stuff. Man, it bothered me when I first saw Kaepernick doing it. It bothered me. It bothered me. This kneeling stuff, it always bothered me. It didn't. No. And Yahuwah spake all these words, saying, let's start at verse 1. I am the Elohim, I am Yahuwah thy Elohim, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods, and it's little g, gods before me. These gods here are ones that rule your conscience, order and direct your. Thou shalt have no other rulers of your life but me. That's what this commandment is about. I'll read. Shall have no other Elohims before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven images or any likeness of anything that is in the heavens above or the earth beneath or that is in the waters under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down. Thou shalt not bow down. I'll say it again because you're not getting it. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I am the Elohim, your Yahuwah thy Elohim, am a jealous Elohim, visiting the iniquity. So we don't supposed to be bowing down. Now look at all these Israelites that are now bowing down because of the incendiary remarks of Donald J. Trump. Now everybody's bowing down. Even in the biggest coon bowed down on 2 knees. Ray Lewis, good grief. He bowed down on 2 knees. I appreciate the ones that just sat down. They didn't bow down. They didn't kneel. Nope. They just sat down. They didn't stand up. They sat down. I really appreciate the ones that sat down and didn't even bow their heads. They were just sitting up looking like they just waiting for something to happen. I really appreciate them. But all of that, no matter what posture any of those people had, it's not going to mean anything if you don't know you're Israelite. But the symbolism has its merit.
Didn't even do nothing, because that's what he said up here. He said he couldn't kneel. He said he couldn't protest the national anthem. That's what he said. I'm taking him at his word.
Okay, and I'm going to assume you're going to have a word privately with Ray Lewis today.
You better believe it,
Okay.
Skip Bayless.
Thank you for that. That would be important to me to hear the outcome of that. Okay, back to what I saw on the field yesterday. And I was so ashamed of our president on Saturday night. I was so horrified.
Now, listen very carefully. Supremacy interprets something, while at the same time, they try to show a facade of empathy and sympathy. Be very careful, because most of us are going to miss this.
Remarks that he made, that I was in the mood for something good to happen. So maybe I'm overreacting, but I did see a silver lining yesterday. I saw a we against that president. I saw locked arms. And
we is who? Who is we, Skip Bayless? Who is we? You saw the slaves unifying with the slave masters and locked arms on the plantation. This is the type of thinking that our people get tied up into. I'm not in sympathy with any of the thinking patterns of this man, Skip Bayless. He don't know it, but he's pushing white supremacy, and maybe he does know it. But what's worse is that our people will listen to this and they don't even hear white supremacy. I hear nothing but white supremacy when you start off your remarks by saying, I see a silver lining. The reason why you see a silver lining is because you are basically just what I would call on a plantation, a taskmaster for the owners and the sponsorers. You are low. I would say that the sponsors I would have to think about it more longer. But this guy right here is just a slave, a hand on the farm working next to the slaves. As far as I'm concerned. Thank you, baby.
good, because I've told you from the start, I don't have the answers. I do know we have a serious problem facing this country that has still not been addressed directly, which is The killing, I've said this for 3 years on national TV, the killing of unarmed black men.
He
by
don't sound
white
convincing to
officers.
me.
It has to stop. It has to be
None of
dealt
this
with.
sounds
And I
convincing.
do believe, and I've told you this now for 6 months, that Colin Kaepernick has had impact there. Of course. Profound national impact. And I told you from the start, I cringed because I'm a God and country guy. You know that. It's the first time.
See, that right there authenticates the feeling that I have. See, the facts of what he just said, I'm a God and country guy. God and country is just code for white supremacy, y'all. It's just code for white Jesus and the founding fathers of this nation. That's all it's a code for. So when I hear a white person say, I'm all about God and country, that's a slap in my face. And it's sad that that's not a slap in the face to most of us, because we're not woke. Because the God that he's talking about,
time I saw him, what did he do the first? Did he sit for the anthem the first time?
He was sitting on the bench. That is correct.
like
So
you
the first
don't
time
know.
he sat for the anthem, I just cringed because I just believe in our country long-term, big picture. And yet, I also told you, as I listened to this young...
I'll tell you how I interpret that. I believe in it. He said, I believe in this country long-term, big picture. He's basically saying, I believe in white supremacy long-term and in a bigger picture. I don't ever want white supremacy to end. That's what I hear in my ruach. That's what I hear in the ruach. Okay? I know even Israelites don't even hear what I just heard. But that's what he's saying. If you just look at the history of this country, you know that's what he got to be meaning.
And he is still a young man, so eloquently define and lay out what he was protesting against. I bought completely into it, and I applauded it, and I endorsed it, and I tried to support it here on Undisputed. And he risked his job, and I think he sacrificed his job to make that statement. And he will go down in history because of that. So that set the tone for what we saw yesterday. And yesterday was in support, in large part, of Colin Kaepernick, what he started. And no matter what it took to detonate this reaction within the league, the league united against Donald Trump yesterday. Robert Kraft condemned Donald Trump yesterday. And just for those who don't know this, Robert Kraft considers himself a close friend of Donald Trump. And he has told the story many times publicly that after he lost his longtime, sort of lifelong partner and wife, Myra, that for a whole year thereafter, once a week, Donald Trump went out of the way, this is obviously pre-election, to call Robert Kraft and say, how are you? And he said he will take that to his grave, that meant a lot to him. That's how he defines a friendship. So it took a lot for Robert Kraft, for the wrong reason or the right reason, to be forced into the corner of condemning our president and his close friend, Donald Trump. You got to admit, that was a big deal.
No, because he brought it to his house.
Okay, but still, it's still, this was,
you heard what Shannon Sharp said? He said, because he brought it to his house. He started attacking his plantation. See, Shannon Sharp caught that. He didn't let that skip by. Skip Bayless is trying to say, oh, wow, I mean, you know, this owner really got some morals. No. Shannon is basically saying, no, it's not about morals. This guy brought it to his house. He started attacking his plantation. So, yeah, he had to come out. You know, see, this is the white supremacy, y'all, that I don't think a lot of us be getting. It be right in our face. Skip Bayless is just pushing white supremacy. And Shannon Sharp, he called him on it. I'm glad he did. That was brilliant.
Progress.
Let me ask you a question.
This was a heartwarming display to me. It's better than nothing.
No.
Okay, just remember the circumstance of what was happening.
Listen to the white supremacy. It's better than nothing. I'm the best you got, nigga. That's all Skip Bayless is saying, y'all. But I'm the only one that can hear this.
I just had Kenny Stills a week ago talking about what happened to the movement. It's fading. Where are we? Come join me. What's happening here? Remember that?
Yes.
Okay, and we talked about here on Undisputed a couple times that it seemed like the protest movement had subsided. It was sort of fading into the background of the NFL season.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
Well, guess who jump-started it on Saturday night? Isn't that a positive thing? Didn't it bring new awareness?
No, guess what jump-started it? White supremacy. That's what jump-started it again. White supremacy. And another thing that jump-started is the owners coming out and locking arms with the field slaves. It ain't nothing else in there to drink. That's why. Oh, you can drink that. We'll drink the other stuff.
But the movement that Kenny Stills talking about that was dying out was the killing of unarmed people of color.
The protest of that.
And the injustices and the inequities in America. It wasn't about the First Amendment. No. It wasn't about showing solidarity because President Trump called somebody an SOB. That's not what he was talking about. Exactly. And what we're talking about is still not the issue that led Colin Kaepernick to begin in the beginning. See, we need to give President Trump a lot more credit than we do because he knows what he's trying to miss. Skip, he's playing the shell game with us. Right. Because he's trying to get this healthcare passed. There's this investigation going on. There's North Korea.
I don't know enough to know. I've told you before, I'm not political enough to even debate with you.
But here's the thing. Now, that Access Hollywood tape, Mr. Kraft did not want to call out Donald Trump. When he offended Mexicans, when he offended Gold Star, when he offended women, when he offended other minorities.
I get you. To me, I'm going to say this again. I said it a couple times before. Especially, I thought this late Saturday night that in a crazy way, because there's craziness to our president, that Donald Trump has been the greatest thing that could have happened at this moment for the Black community and the Colin Kaepernick movement.
Oh, boy, what a slap in the face. He's the greatest thing that could happen to the Black community. Wow. The greatest thing. In a way, I agree with him because we haven't repented yet, okay? We haven't repented yet. So when you don't repent, and that's what the Most High even got you, that's the very reason why the Most High got you in captivity. Okay, all right, yeah, okay, I get it from that standpoint. But I don't get it from the white supremacy standpoint of view that he's about to make. He's saying that this unifies us. It unifies us under what? Slave masters who own the teams. It don't unify us under the Most High. It don't unify us under the Most High. So in a way, in some strange way, he's right, but then he's colossally wrong.
Inadvertently unify the Black community, mobilize the Black community, and create a lot of sympathy in the white community that might not have been there before for the Black community and this issue.
Wow.
And he's doing it because his remarks were so insensitive and so out of bounds. And I told you before that I'm not political, and I just got to, let me put myself back in context here. I did not vote for Donald Trump because I kind of put God above country. So I'm close to 4 different pastors. So I asked them, what do you think of this man? And what do you think of this woman who's running against him? And they did not like that man. So I finally said, I'm out on this one. So I just backed off. And yet when he got elected, shockingly to me, and shockingly to a whole lot of people,
yes,
I decided, okay, I got to get back on board because I've always gotten back on board. And I think a lot of people in this country said, okay, let's try this. Maybe it'll work out.
The presidency is an institution.
Yeah,
It's not
I'm
a
gonna
man
support,
or a
no,
woman.
it's not. I'm gonna support the office of the president.
Correct.
But
So
it's a
then
man
I
who
watched this
occupies
man
the position.
slowly destruct in office to the point that, as unpolitical, apolitical as I am, I'm starting to think he's just not qualified for the office. And I think a lot of people are coming to that conclusion, right?
Listen to this. He's starting to think that the man is not just qualified. Skip, what else did the man have to do to convince you? You're starting? See, the people be telling us that they're white supremacy and we don't even hear it. You're starting to see that maybe he's not? Oh, boy.
Yeah, but he was never qualified.
Okay. Well, I tried
Thank you,
to
Skip.
hope that he would figure it out
Shannon.
on the fly, and he went the other way. And then Saturday night, he came across as a desperately insecure egomaniac, just reaching for the last bit of support. I'll go to the far right again.
Yeah.
I'm playing to the crowd because he said a couple times to the, where are they, in Huntsville, Alabama?
Alabama.
Yeah. And he says, what a great crowd. What a great crowd. And I think he was empowered and emboldened by the crowd. And it felt like he went off script to take these shots at the NFL.
And this is where he speaks. This is where he opens his heart.
Right.
This is where he opens his soul.
Okay,
Not on
see,
prompter.
I got it.
I'm going to say this. Teddy Roosevelt said, if you educate a man in mind and not in morals, you educate a menace to society.
Yeah, that's true. So if our president of the greatest country in the world had at least given any credibility or credit to the movement itself by saying, I get what they're trying to protest, some throwaway line, just something to preface, and then and just said, I wish owners would fire them, which no owner can fire you over a social protest anyway. It's just completely wrong-headed. And
I just see Skip Bayless trying to make white supremacy not as inflammatory as it really is. That's all I hear. He just, you know, he's trying to cape for him the best way he can. But I'm not, I see right through this.
completely out of bounds. But if he wants to play to the crowd with that, but he gave them no quarter. He gave them no points, no credit whatsoever for the movement. And then he attacked the league.
Now, Skip Bayless don't know it, but he's really telling how white supremacy works. By talking, saying stuff like he don't give them any quarter to even, you know, cloak and dagger. That's basically what he's saying. He's basically giving you of how white supremacy work in America in talking about Trump and how Caucasian people respond to him. But that'll go right over our head. Because we're going to look at Skip Bayless as just talking as an individual and not as a person that is speaking in the collective sense.
Well, I think it's 75% African American, 70%. Yeah, 70% African American.
Like he don't know. Like he don't know. That's what this guy does for a living. Talk about sport. He don't even know. Stop fronting.
To condemn the league as if the league's ratings are falling. Well, we just went through not one, but two hurricanes that took a lot of TV sets away.
Historic.
Yes. Yeah. And then he's trying to condemn it as it's about me. People want to watch me. Well, this is unstable, man. This is to the point of, are you sure is this the man you want running your country?
Just Skip, and just all I ask is that why, when minorities ask that America be who she said she would be on paper with the Constitution, the stars and stripes, what she represents, says we're going to treat everybody equal.
See, I don't like when I hear our people talk like this. Now, I know that people like him have to use some level of diplomacy. I get that. But I don't like when I hear my people say, you know, why don't we just be on, why won't America be on paper, be what it is on paper? Because it's a trick. It's a scam. That's why. Naive that we still think that.
Regardless of your religion, your race, or your gender, Why, when I demand America do that, why must I leave? Why do people tell me if you don't like America? I love America. America has been great, but I should demand and expect her to be better and to be what she said she would be. And when she's not, it is my job as an American citizen to call attention to it.
But
And
she's never
stop telling me
that.
people died for a cloth. They didn't die for that flag, Skip, because if they die for that flag, they'll die for a dress, they'll die for a pair of jeans, they'll die for a t-shirt. They died for the freedoms and the liberty in which that flag supposedly. So stop saying men and women died for that flag. They did not. They died for what that flag represents. And I demand that America be who she said she would be on paper and be who she said Stars and Stripes would represent. That's what I demand of her.
I hear you, but in the end, I still thought that the reaction yesterday was positive, that it was another small step forward, for maybe for the wrong reasons, but it actually.
The only reason why it was positive, y'all, is because the slave masters came out of the owner's box and got the players in an arm lock. So they won't be so demoralized that they run off the plantation. That's what that is. And so there's not a total meltdown on the plantation. That's the only reason why Skip is saying it's positive.
United the whole National Football League against this.
Well, so it's a lot of very different.
But anyway, that's it for tonight. I just wanted to deal with that because you know, the real issue of what's going on here. I'm not saying that there are no other issues that I have not addressed, but I just wanted to give my perspective as a prophet, as an Israelite, as a husband, a father, as a man. I wanted to give my perspective on this, and I wanted to let you all know, don't fall for the okie doke. You know, don't get caught up in all this worldly stuff. Don't get caught all up in this, y'all. And when you hear things in the news, and you're going to have to be able to digest this thing according to the Bible. And this is why we should be learning more and more about our laws, the Torah. You see, that's why we should be learning more and more about our laws, our commandments, our statutes. So we'll be able to look at these news events, things that presidents say, world leaders say, new world events, and be able to see with a prophetic eye through the Torah how to interpret these things. But anyway, I'm going to get out of here. This is Prophet Rawanawabi signing out and saying shalom. And you all take it easy till next time. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the broadcast, the vlog. Subscribe, like, share, and all that good stuff. All right, I'm out of here. Good night.